All-Rookie Team, starting with the quarterback position. I think this one was difficult because the highest graded quarterback as a rookie was Gardner Minshew. Even though he had some ups and downs here, there was reason to maybe push Daniel Jones into the conversation. Kyler Murray had a very good year until late in the season, earned a couple below 30.0 PFF passing grades. Dwayne Haskins even had some better games down the stretch, but we went with Gardner Minshew, the Washington State alum, the myth, the man, the mustache, whatever you want to call him. But he had 18 big-time throws, 19 turnover-worthy plays, a lot in that game against Houston where he got benched the following week. But I think Gardner Minshew is still very impressive for where he was drafted, and I think the Jacksonville Jaguars have something in him that they could get behind.
See, I'm going to disagree with you on that.
Really?
In terms of this whole rookie class, not a single one did enough for me to be like, put a pin in it, this guy's going to be a franchise-type quarterback. They think all of them have serious reservations after what we saw this year, to where I'm not, if I'm the Jaguars, I'm not just, eschewing the quarterback position entirely in this upcoming draft. I'm not just going to be like, Gardner Minshew's our guy, we're going to ride with him. No, you keep addressing the quarterback position. I think if you are some of these teams in the mix, maybe not first round, but at some point in the draft, add another guy like Minshew, necessarily down the line there. I just don't think it was a good year for rookie quarterbacks. All of them had their issues. Like you said, Kyler Murray towards the end of the season just had games where he couldn't complete a pass. I don't know what was going on. Just completely fell apart. We talked about
Daniel
that
Jones fumbled twice on one play.
That was awful. Daniel Jones' fumble issues were a serious problem. I think he ended up with 17, was it, on the year, maybe 18 on the season, just consistently game after game after game. You can't be doing that in the NFL, just coughing it up that much.
And with Dwayne Haskins, too, if I can jump in there, I think the big reason, what we thought was going to happen with Dwayne Haskins, is that he would look uncomfortable and experienced. That one-year starter at Ohio State would show. And I think starting this year for Washington, he didn't get the best treatment and was kind of thrown to the dogs. But that's what you really saw with him. Until later in the year did you start to see him start to get it. But out of the gate, man, this guy thought the NFL was way too fast for him. A lot of those things happened. That uncomfortability is what I really saw in Dwayne.
Yeah, he was just not comfortable in the pocket. He got sacked 29 times on 245 dropbacks. He had the highest the highest pressure to sack conversion rate of anyone.
A key number when you're looking at quarterback evaluation, in my opinion. I think looking at how often a quarterback converts pressure to sacks is important, because that shows you're not getting the ball away, not able to evade pressure, all that.
You can be on the high end of that if you're someone like Kyler Murray, you're someone like Lamar Jackson, where you're scrambling. When you do face pressure, you scramble, and then, yes, you're going to take sacks off of that, or even Russell Wilson's on the high end of that. Guys like that, you can be on the high end if you're that. It's not Dwayne Haskins. He's not a scrambler by any stretch of the imagination, despite what Stephen A. Smith says. So I do think that that's the most worrisome thing for me with Haskins, was that you just didn't see him sort of overcome a bad offensive line. The offensive line really got to him. Now, he's a rookie. All these guys are rookies. Like I said, there's still they still all showed enough that I'd keep them as starters going into 2020. But no one showed enough for me that I'm not gonna keep them franchise guy at this point.
All right, let's go to wide receiver. Two of them to start with. Both of these guys have been fantastic. They were in neck-and-neck race for Offensive Rookie of the Year down the stretch for us. It ended up being A.J. Brown as our PFF Offensive Rookie of the Year, but right behind him is Terry McLaurin of the Washington Redskins. Both of these guys, even if you look at historically, dating back to the 2006, the start of the PFF era, these are two of the best rookie seasons we've seen from wide receivers in the era, and it's pretty incredible what A.J. Brown has done, specifically at outside receiver. I think some had reservations of whether or not he could play that, knowing he played a ton of slot at Ole Miss. Not us. And Terry McLaurin, a guy who was drafted in the third round, who had all these traits, very fast dude, crisp route runner. You didn't really get to see what he could do until he left that Ohio State offense and was actually targeted on a vertical route tree.
Yes, I think both these guys look like number one wide receivers. We've said it for a while now. These are legitimate, go-to 1,200-plus yard type of guys for the foreseeable future. And after week one, I said that with A.J. Brown, just from what I saw on tape, his ability to get open, going up against Denzel Ward and the Cleveland Browns in that game. He can separate down the football field. He has pretty much a full wide receiver one skill set. He can run the full route tree, do anything you ask of him, and his stats this year were just absurd. 16 broken tackles on only 52 catches is a crazy number, considering wasn't really getting pumped screens in that offense. A lot of those after the broken tackles were coming after the catch, and only 84 targets. He went over 1,000 yards, fewest targets we've ever seen for a 1,000-yard wide receiver.
That is insane. Big play. He's got the big play ability, forces missed tackles after the catch. Creates separation on his routes, vertical route tree. Both those guys have been really, really good. And let's go to the third wide receiver to make the All-Rookie team, Deebo Samuel of the San Francisco 49ers. Talk about a fun player to watch. Oh, man, he put Shaquille Griffin in a blender on primetime. That was very impressive. Deebo Samuel, what impresses me is he was a very good route runner at South Carolina, created separation on these short and intermediate routes very well. However, I did not expect him to have this success 10-plus yards down the football field that he is, because he is really doing a great job of being a true wide receiver, not this gimmicky player that maybe some pinned him as.
Well, it's tough because at South Carolina's quarterback situation is almost similar to Jalen Reagor, who we keep saying this year. It's just like he wasn't getting accurately thrown footballs down the football field.
Yeah.
So that's why it sometimes was like, oh, is he going to be able to produce on the football field? We just haven't really seen it. Well, a lot of that was a quarterback situation that he had there at South Carolina, but I don't want to overreact too much from a rookie class or, get too, but I think you can always learn from some sort of evaluation in terms of what succeeded and what translated quickly to the NFL. When you look at A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel, it's hard not to think that guys who are that special at breaking tackles after the catch, guys who really showed it consistently throughout their entire college career, it seems like that's something that probably translates well to the NFL. And that sort of making guys miss in the open field is also what helps you make guys miss at the line of scrimmage. That skill set can also help you get off press coverage. So I think just sort of from a high-level scouting perspective, seeing guys breaking tackles at the college level is almost going to be more important in my eyes going forward. Seeing those guys like Laviska Shenault who can shake you in the open field, you can then teach a guy with that skill set, with that physical attribute to have that translate to the line of scrimmage.
And what that is just quick twitch athleticism. It's short area quickness. That translates to the next level because it doesn't go away. I'll tell you right now, it does not go away when you go to the NFL. And if you have that rare trait, you have to admit it's a rare trait. As a receiver, you're going to be able to learn to get better off your releases. You're going to be able to force missed tackles after the catch. I think that's a great point.
Deebo led all wideouts this year in broken tackles with 18.
There you go. Tennessee Titans. I remember I wrote the draft grades piece, the big draft grades piece that goes like 11,000 words or wherever it is. And I remember we fell in love with the Tennessee Titans draft class when it came out.
Yes, it was our favorite draft class. They had every single pick was higher on our draft board than with their draft slot.
That's great.
Which was the only team that had that. And so that obviously means every single pick we're a fan of the value they got. And now, in retrospect, Jeffrey Simmons at 19 has been fantastic for them. 70.4 overall grade as a rookie. A.J. Brown, obviously we've talked about it now. 51st, he goes. If you did a redraft, he'd probably go top 5 right now. Nate Davis struggled as a rookie, 82nd pick in the third rounder. Frog stance guy. That one we expected coming out, but then Amani Hooker, 116th overall. We didn't talk about him because it was a deep safety class, but he has been exceptional there in a limited role when he comes on the field. So
I love Amani Hooker coming out. It's such an instinctual player. I think he's got 66.3 coverage grade this year, which doesn't sound great on paper. But if you're looking at, he didn't allow a pass. He didn't allow a pass over 18 yards. Limiting those big plays is a big part of your ability at safety, or when you're playing like a certain safety hybrid role. And I think that's something I look at. It doesn't always get reflected in PFF coverage grades because you're not making plays on the ball. You're just like not letting big plays happen. I think not targeted on those things as well. So Amani Hooker, very impressed with him. I think he gets better in year 2. That Tennessee Titans draft class though is highlighted by the man that is A.J. Brown, an absolute monster. I think he's going to go into Foxborough this weekend, give Stephon Gilmore the business, and help.
Do we think Stephon shadows him?
Absolutely. Yeah. You think Stephon Gilmore is going to go to Corey Bump Davis? No chance. Corey Davis is going to get
Hall of Famer Corey Davis
bracketed with J.C. Jackson or whatever it was going to be. But I think Stephon Gilmore's following A.J. Brown 100%.
That's must-watch TV. I'm gonna rewatch that one a few times afterwards, break out the lotion, because that's just gonna be good. I mean, that's just high-level wide receiver play versus high-level cornerback play.
Did you ever go back and rewatch Devontae Parker versus Stephon Gilmore in Week 17?
Yeah,
that was pretty special too. I mean, Devontae Parker might be good now. I don't know.
1,200 yards. I hope he's good.
We're gonna have to dive in and see if he's actually good. But let's go to the number 2 here. San Francisco 49ers with that second best draft class from a return on investment standpoint. I mean, Nick Bosa was a monster. Deebo Samuel, very good. Like the 2 picks, those first 2 picks right there, are huge.
I was going to say, yes, it was the number 2 overall pick, but I think you still got like a high-end positive ROI because of just how dominant he was. Like you got a guy who, legitimately is an elite edge defender in the NFL right now. 6 most pressures of anyone in football this year. That's, you just don't get that. So you have 5 years of this guy cost-controlled who is going to give you elite level play, barring injury, knock on wood, over that span. That's a pretty damn good pick. You'd take that in a heartbeat. Number 2 overall. I'd take that number 1 overall. Like that's just that doesn't happen every day in the top 5.
He proved that he was well worth the number 2 overall pick. Like it's a no-brainer at this point. As good as A.J. Brown was, Nick Bosa's going ahead of A.J. Brown. The other picks here, Drake Greenlaw, we spoke to him. He made the All-Rookie team as well. Justin School came in and played well. I mean, came in and played well for what they were going to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, for the 183rd pick in the draft, he came in and wasn't complete liability, which is, again, that's good for a rookie offensive lineman. He was pretty athletic coming out of Vanderbilt as well. And then Deebo Samuel, obviously, at 36. Again, you do a redraft, he's probably going top 10, 15 at the moment with just how good he was at the receiver position as a rookie.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.